Hey guys, so I filmed this video before Jeff Hoffman signed with the Blue Jays, and I'm just uploading it the day after he did. So some of the stuff I say in the video might not make sense. Most of it does, but some parts may not, and that's why. But anyways, enjoy the video.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Blue Jays Breakdown, where we always break down the Toronto Blue Jays, and today we're here with a not-so-daily dose of Toronto Blue Jays news. We're going to be talking about Anthony Santander. The Blue Jays have made a contract offer, and we finally know the amount that they've offered. We're going to get into that a little bit later. We're also going to talk about Alex Bregman, another key free agent in the sight of the Toronto Blue Jays, like many. And our old friend Cavan Biggio has finally found a new home. We're going to talk about that too, and a lot more, all on today's not-so-daily dose of Toronto Blue Jays news. Let's get right into it. So the first story we got today, Cavan Biggio has found a new home in the Kansas City area. Okay, he signed a minor league contract with the Kansas City Royals, and every time I hear about Cavan Biggio, I think about what he could have been. I think about when he got called up with Bo Vlad and was supposed to be the next big three here in Toronto. Turned out to be a big two, and last year was just a big one. We don't talk about that though. We talk about Cavan Biggio, and after he left the Toronto Blue Jays, it seemed like he was done for, okay? It seemed like no other team wanted to pick him up. We DFA'd him because he didn't want to go down to the minor leagues. And then a little bit later in the season, some other team picked him up. I can't remember which team it was. And he played for the minor league for that team. And now going into free agency, I don't know why the Royals did this. He's now a Kansas City Royal in their minor league system. How does that feel, buddy? That's all for this segment of Where's Cavan Biggio? It seems like he's switching teams every single goddamn day. So the Blue Jays' newest free agency acquisitions, Nick Sandlin. I'm not quite familiar with his work, actually. Let me look up his stats real quick. How old is this guy? 27. So he's young, which is good because relievers nowadays are like 36 and 37. So that's pretty good. 2024, he went 8-0, but granted the Guardians were really good. Posted a 3.75 ERA in 68 games and 57 innings with 68 strikeouts. Whenever a pitcher has more strikeouts than innings pitched, that's a great sign to me. So, okay, he's better than I anticipated. He recently came out on Instagram. He said, quote, "I want to settle in as quickly as possible and be as consistent as possible to help Toronto win a lot of games. That's the goal, to be a really good contributor on this team. Unless we make more free agency moves or trades to get people, I don't know if you're really going to contribute so much." It is good though, because at least one guy in our bullpen that was really bad last year is motivated and actually wants to win games. I don't know if anyone else in that bullpen actually wants to win games by the things of how it went, but it's good to hear that the new acquired Nick Sandlin is ready to roll for 2025. You love to see it from the guys. The next thing we're going to talk about, this is kind of like the big stories we're going to get into now. Jeff Passan. If you don't know who Jeff Passan is, he's like one of MLB's most pristine insiders. He recently put out an article, and in that article, he said the Toronto Blue Jays offseason has been an I'm gonna look up how to say. I don't know how to say that word. Unmitigated. I don't know what unmitigated means because Google's not really helping me out right now. It goes on to talk about how the Blue Jays whiffed on Soto, whiffed on Burns, whiffed on Fried, and are currently whiffing on Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s contract extension, which I want. This is a sidetrack, but I want to show you something. I found this thing. It's the spring training countdown. As you can see, there's 36 days, 5 hours, 53 minutes, and 18 seconds. This is the amount of days, hours, minutes, and seconds the Blue Jays have to extend Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He's come out and he said he's not going to accept a contract extension, not going to talk about a contract extension after the first full day of spring training. The Blue Jays, at this time of the recording on January 6th, have 36 days to re-sign Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And if they don't get it done, Lord knows they're not going to re-sign him in free agency unless we fire Ross Atkins before the next offseason. He could be gone. It goes on to continue to say the Blue Jays have a lot of good things to sell It's an incredible city. They have renovated facilities. They have the money. It basically says all the AL East teams are gonna kick our ass, including the Rays. And no players under contract beyond 2025. The only player that's not going into free agency in 2026 on this Blue Jays team currently is Andres Gimenez. The article goes on to say it's hard to disagree with anything that Passan says. Of course it is. We all know the Blue Jays are an unmitigated disaster. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. The article finishes off by saying there's still time to convince Alex Bregman or Anthony Santander. So let's go talk about those potential signings right now. What a way to transition. We're going to save the best player for last. So first we're going to talk about Alex Bregman, okay? Alex Bregman. He costs a hell of a lot of money. He wants, I've heard, in between 200 and 230. At this point, we kind of need anyone, right? But I don't know about 230. In 2024, Alex Bregman hit 260 with 75 RBIs and 26 home runs, on base of 315, an OPS of 768. Even though Santander has an offer on the table, I genuinely think that Alex Bregman is going to be a Toronto Blue Jay. The only reason I say that is because of his defense. We all know the Blue Jays front office, especially Ross Atkins, likes that defense. Alex Bregman, I don't know how good his defense was last season, but he's had a bunch of Gold Glove finalists. He's had a bunch of Gold Glove wins. He has like 3, I'm pretty sure. Defense over there is pretty stellar, and even though Ernie Clement was a finalist for one last year, if we get Alex Bregman, all that does is either open up the trade market for Ernie Clement or have him off the bench as like a utility guy, kind of like IKF last season, but he can hit the ball a little bit, which is good. Am I willing to spend $215 million, say, on an aging Alex Bregman? 94, so he's 31. I mean, Anthony Santander is 32, maybe, you know what I mean? Now, here's the thing. The Blue Jays have the money to get both of these guys. We have like $700 million we're willing to spend, and that's why we were in on the big names: Soto, Burns, Teoscar, Fried, everybody. Because the Blue Jays were like, we're desperate, we're gonna throw money at you, and yet the only move they done is brought back an old friend and forced 2 players to come here. That's all you've done. If you get Alex Bregman, maybe I'm back. But now let's go and transition to Anthony Santander, the main man, the reason why you clicked on this video. The Blue Jays have an offer of 4 years, $82 million on the table to Anthony Santander. But here's the thing. Santander has this money in front of him, and people have even came out and said that he is considering signing with the Toronto Blue Jays. He has this money and he hasn't accepted it yet. Maybe he's waiting to hear from the Angels and the Tigers. Those are the other 2 teams in the race. But the sources are saying that the Blue Jays are either going to need to bump up the AAV, which is the annual value on his contract, because $82 million, if we check that out, is $20.5 million. $20.5 million per year is what Santander would be making if he accepts that offer. And sources say they need to go up to at least $22 million, which would make the contract worth $88 million. So the Blue Jays either need to make it around a $90 to $95 million for 4 years, or they need to give him an extra year and make it like 5 years, $105 to $110 million, which would be okay. But I think the only reason they're hesitant in doing that is because we got George Springer, right? George Springer's an old rotting bag of potato chips just sitting there in right field. I'm scared to thinking of the future. Right now, we're thinking of the present. Anthony Santander is a phenomenal hitter, can hit up to like 30 to 40 home runs, can hit for average, hit for power. He does everything right. Hell, we could have him as our DH if you want and still have Springer in right field, or you could have Santander in right field and Springer off the bench. That would be freaking phenomenal. But what I'm trying to say is Anthony Santander is 32. At the end of the contract, he's going to be 36, 37. I don't think the Blue Jays want to go through another George Springer with Anthony Santander, and that's what I'm worried about. When all we need to do is win now. We have Vlad and Bo, but on a 1-year deal. If you're really considering contending in 2025, give the man an extra year and worry about it when it gets there. If we suck in 2025, then just trade him in 2026. It really doesn't matter. But nonetheless, Anthony Santander, offer on the table. Will he accept it, or will the Blue Jays have to raise up their offer? I think they will have to raise up their offer, especially considering that there's 2 other teams still in the race. So granted, the Angels are worse than us, and the Tigers are supposed to be bad, even though they made a miraculous run in the postseason last year. If we get Anthony Santander, Alex Bregman, then I'm kind of halfway back in. If we get 2 of those guys, I'm so far back. There's been rumors about Tanner Scott coming here and Jack Flaherty coming here, but those are the biggest free agents that we just discussed, Alex Bregman and Anthony Santander, that have some real heat on coming to the Toronto Blue Jays. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more mini Blue Jays breakdowns just like this, make sure to like, subscribe. But other than that, it's been me, Brandon. I break down the Jays, and I'll see you next time. Peace.